This title, Advertising Has Become Too Great Influence on Young People, is begging to be written. The material we need is all around us. Ads have really become too great an influence in all our lives, not only the lives of the young. It is easier to agree. If we disagree, it will be hard to find material for our essay. In exams, it is advisable to take the essay way out. We need to have at least 3 points to show how ads influence young people. So now let's begin. Now I will comment on the essay which is showing in front of the screen. Like the essay is written simply and follows a generally good pattern. First, the writer introduces the subject with a good lead in. Then he makes his stand. He agrees with the premise. Then he gives us the 3 points he is going to make. We see that this influence, especially in the way young people dress, the things they must have, and even the food they eat. These are, I think, some three main points in this essay. Each of the next three paragraphs, which called sporting paragraphs, elaborates on each of the points he makes. Now I read the first paragraph, which is mainly called an introductory paragraph. When we buy any product or service, we like to feel that we made a decision to buy based on our desires. Mostly, like this happens that we see an advertisement on our social media accounts. We saw the basic trends that is mostly in the fashion, and we automatically tries to imitate the fashion, and that's influence our mindset. However, this is not always the case. Most of the time, we buy what has been intensively advertised. This applies especially to young people. The influence that advertising has on them is enormous, taking away from them most of their will and ability to make good decisions based on some thought. We see this undue influence, especially in the way young people dress, the things they must have, and even the food they eat. Here in these lines, we see that the most happening in our surrounding, that advertisement has greater influence on us, that it takes us our own will, our own freedom of choice to make good decisions on based on our own thoughts. We just actually imitate what is actually in trending. Now I'm going to read a second paragraph, which is known as a spotting paragraph. Firstly, what young people wear is based to a great extent on what is advertised. Gone are the inexpensive traditional gap that was good enough for our parents and grandparents. All it takes is for a few ads over the mass media for young people to feel that they have to dress in that way. Like here, we saw that the traditional trends are all gone far away from us. Like in this modern world, we only try to copy what is in the most trends. Taking advantage of this, the merchants sell garments made of cheap material like cotton jeans at any price they like. The demand creates a supply that they are paying more than the materials are worth is farthest from the young people's mind. It seems to be enough that they have the latest and are in crowd. Keeping up with the trend can be very expensive since the merchants are constantly coming up with new goods. Accompanied by intensive advertising, the cost to indulgent parents can well be imagined. Like this is an easiest way you can easily understand. Now the second slide appear. It is the third para of essay. Another effect of ads is the tendency for young person to own the latest gimmicks in town. It is no more enough to own just a handphone. The latest handphone has to come with a series of modern gadgets like a radio, a camera, and several other gadgets that have nothing to do with a piece of communication equipment. When the handphone first appeared, it was just a convenient handheld communication like a great boon. Nowadays, if one owns a handphone which just makes and receives phone calls, one feels inferior. In addition to the handphone, there are also several other gadgets like portable CD players, which young people just must have and compete with each other to own the latest model. All this is the result of ads. Now we can say that we living in the era of modern world where the new inventions with the new discoveries are always possible, and that there remains a trend. Like if first thing is discovered, then the same thing appears with extra advanced element like in this, and this arouses the competition among the peers, among the public, that we need inferior by having the first brand, but when the second brand appears, we need to buy this according to remain in fashion. Like this is all a result of advertisement that influence the young generation. Now I read the fourth para. Finally, what young people eat is also a result of the bad influence of ads. It is amazing that they gorge themselves on fast food against all their better judgment and against all the good eating habits that they have been inculcated within school. The result is obesity. Obesity means fatness, and the host of ill health that accompanies such food. There's also the matter of they're not getting enough nutrients and getting too much of certain substances. Little do they bother that the result will be bad for the health and often create long term or even permanent damage to their bodies. It seems to be enough to be with the latest trend that is advertised intensely. What we see that mostly when we watch our TV programs, when we watch our YouTube videos, whenever we just scrolling in our social media accounts, we saw the different sort of ads. We often saw the ads of for Food Panda, obviously, like some other brands of eating restaurants and eating hotels. Like there are different sort of appetizing foods in front of us that we try uh, to eat each and everything that we tried. We obviously in our daily routine we eat fast food that obviously result in our obesity and we remain ill. Like this is, we can say in another way, is the result of advertisement that we all say that here. Another thing we can say that mostly the advertising circulars have been contributed or have been distributed in every house in every era, mostly in our accounts. And that's, we can say, this is another way to increase our business. So we can say by this way the writer concluded here that, of course, we should allow advertisers to create an awareness of their viewers, but what is happening is that the intense advertising is creating problems for others. Like they, in the case of food, they felt obesity and the. Now, can you can tell me, is it wise to allow them to continue filling their coffers to the disadvantage of young people and the money of their hardworking parents? Perhaps it is time for the consumers, particularly young people, to wake up to their reality.